WPATTESS.org, a TuneIn radio station, part of the William Patterson Broadcast Network.
Broadcasting live from Hobart Hall in Wayne, New Jersey.
This is
The Innovative.
I think they're really unique.
The Fearless.
They have awesome variety.
The Kick-Ass.
I love Brave New Radio.
The Sensational.
I've never heard anything like it.
This is the one and only Brave New Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are solely those of the hosts and guests and are not necessarily supported by WP 88.7 FM, station management, or the station owner, William Patterson University. Anyone wanting to offer differing opinions may do so by calling this show at 973-720-2738. Abusive callers will be rejected. Now here's your program on WP 88.7 FM, Brave New Radio.
Well, good morning, good morning. Good morning to you. And another week has flown by, and it's time for another edition of the Reading Circle with your host, Marc Medley. We've celebrated the Thanksgiving, the day that we paused to give thanks on Thursday, and then many of us had yesterday off as well to continue on with the celebration, and now it is the weekend after Thanksgiving. A couple days past, and we're heading on into the holiday season into December. If you're listening to my voice, this is your host, Marc Medley. Again, we come to you live Saturday mornings from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. with the Reading Circle. Then we move on into the M&M Hour, where we put on the good news in song, which is the gospel music, and then continue on with Martha and Friends, which is also the good news in song. So as we kick off the Reading Circle, my guest is already waiting. She is on the line, so I'm going to do what we normally do on Saturday mornings, and that is I'm going to share the weather with you. Then I'm going to read from two books, introduce my guest, and then we'll be underway. So here in the Wayne, New Jersey area, it's 39.3 degrees. We're working our way up to a high of 50. A low of 34, cloudy skies early, then partly cloudy this afternoon. Then tomorrow, Sunday, generally sunny, high of 47. Clearing up Sunday night, or going to remain clear rather, and then we're going to move to a low of 29. Then on Monday, sunshine and some clouds, and moving to considerable cloudiness on Monday night, high of 49, low of 36. On Tuesday, 55 as a high, 45 as a low. Looks like we got rain all day and night. 100% chance of rain during the day Tuesday, dropping to 90% chance on Tuesday night. And then Wednesday, rain likely as well. High of 56, low of 48. Periods of rain on Wednesday night. That is the weather brought to you right here from the WP 88.7 FM Weather Center. For today, November the 26th, from the book The Power of Being Thankful, the 365 devotions for discovering the strength of gratitude. Talking about Thanksgiving, well, that's what this book is all about. November the 26th, changing the world around you. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. 1 Corinthians 13:13. One of the best ways to get your mind off a problem or a troubling situation is to go help someone else. When you display love to others, it not only blesses you, but it changes the world around you. Those are two great reasons to start living in love. We've all tried selfishness, discouragement, and self-pity, and we have seen the terrible fruit of that. The world has seen the results of those things too. But thankfully, genuine love is different. Let's agree that we will live life God's way in gratitude and love. Be mindful to be a blessing to others. See Galatians 6:10. Put on love. See Colossians 3:14. And live like Jesus. Jesus got up daily and went about doing good. See Acts 10:38. If we will follow that example, we are sure to change the world. Prayer of thanks. I thank you, Father, that there is a better way to live my life than focusing on my problems. Today I choose to go out and follow the example of Jesus by doing good to others. With your help, I am going to be an agent of change in the world around me. That's from the book, The Power of Being Thankful. 365 devotions for discovering the strength of gratitude. The author of that is Joyce Meyer. And the second book we read from is Until Today by Iyanla Vanzant. And for November the 26th, she says, the greatest service I can offer is standing confidently in my power. It does not serve you or the world for you to behave as if you are powerless. It is an insult to the creator of your life, in whose image and likeness you are created, for you to bow or bend down to conditions and situations that are beneath you. It is arrogant of you to assume that you are incapable because you don't believe you are capable. You have gifts. You have the gift of intellect. You can think yourself into and out of any situation with which you are confronted. You have the ability to speak for yourself. You can defend yourself, promote yourself, encourage yourself, teach yourself, correct yourself. That is power. You have a heart. Through it, you can experience love, grief, compassion, empathy, joy, peace, and an entire realm of emotions that let you know that you are alive. While you are alive, you can create, destroy, and rebuild something as insignificant as a Lego house or something as significant as the capital city of a state. You can create another life. Through that life, you have the opportunity to share words of compassion, to express feelings of love, to know the joys of sharing, and to experience the wonderment of seeing a life grow before your eyes. That is powerful. You are powerful. Now, why don't you try acting like it? Until today, you may have believed that money is power, education is power, or that the things that you can do make you more or less powerful. Just for today, know that you are powerful. Stand up in your power. Embrace your power. Serve the world by bringing your power into your life. Start by being grateful for the power you have been given and are using free of charge. Today, I'm devoted to experiencing myself as a powerful being. And that's for November the 26th from Until Today by Iyanla Vanzant. Well, as I said, my guest is on the line. And this is one, those of you who are listening for any of my time, you know, I generally don't schedule a guest the weekend after a holiday or somewhere around the holidays. I usually don't, but just in case, you know, that I do, sometime I'll do something creative like I did this weekend in order to see if any guests would be available. So I put out a call on all my social media sites saying the first author who responds, I have an opening on Saturday morning at 6 a.m. First one to respond, first come, first serve. If you're willing and you want to, the spot is yours. Sure enough, my guest responded and said she would be glad to come back on, and she's actually been on the show before. I looked in the records. She was on the show back in October 2014. And I'm looking at her About Me bio. It says, I'm a writer, author, poetess. I write the words from my inner soul that my lips dare not utter. Come into my heart and move to the beat of the drum major in my life. Feel the warmth of the blood that flows freely through every artery and vein, which nourishes my body to the highest degree. Take a journey into my world of inspiration and restoration. The whole world is a stage, and we all are actors in one way or the other. When the curtain goes up, you get to choose the scene and the character you want to portray. You get to choose your destiny or your fate. Which one will you choose? And she'll tell us a little bit more about herself, but that is none other than welcome back to the Reading Circle, Mary Bowers. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Mark?
I am doing well, thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
And the same to you.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, thank you for taking me up on my challenge or my offer to come in this morning or to join me this morning.
Thank you.
All right, let's see now. I'm going to take a short information sharing break. I'm going to share some information with the listening audience, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about what's been going on since we were together in October of 2014. So don't you dare move. We'll be resuming momentarily.
Okay.
If your blood type is O negative, listen up. Community Blood Services needs type O negative blood donors. Type O negative blood is the only blood type that can be transfused to any patient regardless of their blood type. Hospitals rely on this blood type for newborns, trauma victims, and patients with life-threatening emergencies. Only 6% of the population have this blood type. Schedule an appointment today by calling Community Blood Services at 201-251-3703.
By the time it takes to tell you this, a child will be neglected. Every 35 seconds this happens in the United States. Over 600 children were in foster care last year, and thanks to CASA, over 200 of them have advocates. Court-appointed Special Advocates is an organization that trains volunteers to help children's voices be heard.
I am for the child.
For more information, go to PassaiCountyCASA.org or call 973-832-4002.
Here it is, coming at you, low-tech style.
Brave, adjective, possessing or exhibiting courage or courageous endurance. Excellent, fine, admirable. Okay, we'll take that. WP 88.7 FM, Brave New Radio. Brave New Radio. Brave New Radio. Brave New Radio.
You're listening to The Reading Circle with Marc Medley on Brave New Radio.
Welcome back to the Reading Circle with your host, Marc Medley, right here on Brave New Radio on WP 88.7 FM. And my guest this morning is Mary Bowers. And again, she was on me, or with me, shall I say, back in October of 2014. And at that time, we were talking about her works, Looking Behind the Mirror, Getting to Know Me from the Inside Out, and Before the Last Teardrop Falls. So, Mary, what's been going on since then?
Okay, since then, Mark, I have to let you know, I do have a website, The Intimate Voice of Faith.
All right, The Intimate Voice of Faith. All right, we're going to look that up then. Thank you. So what's been going on since the last time we spoke?
I've written the third book, Mechanically Inclined and Battery Operated, and I've written the fourth book called Brave Audacity and Humble Weakness.
All right, let's go back and refresh the audience's mind as well as mine in terms of where did the writing begin. Let's talk a little bit. Did you do that as a youngster, or did it come along later in life? Because now you have 4. The last time we talked, you had 2, and now we have 4. So let's work our way up to that. And where did I'm listening to those titles. Where are the storylines and all that? And we'll talk all about all of that in the next few minutes or so. But talk to me a little bit about and obviously it's still a passion because you're still doing it.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, I'm a PK, preacher's kid. I've been writing since the age of 9. And I would really type all of my dad's sermons and stuff. But even as a kid, I wasn't the type to be outside playing like the other kids. I would always have pen and paper in my hand, always writing things down that I see around me or whatever. And so from there on, I just started writing poems and being in dramatic clubs in school and in college. I was in the drama club, and it started from then. And ever since then, that's been a passion of mine.
All right. Well, obviously you've kept it going. So the last time we talked, and again, I'm looking at the date, it was October 25th, 2014. Almost 2 years, almost 2 years to the date, with the exception of a month or two, because today is the 26th of November, and you were on the 25th of October in 2014. So how did looking behind the mirror and before the last teardrop fall, how did things go with that? Did it sell well? Did it move well with the audience, or how did things go? Because I'm gonna say again, it must have been okay because you've written 2 more. Right.
Yeah, it went pretty good. Looking behind the mirror, that really went well. Because of the way that I portrayed that as the way people judge each other from outer appearance instead of getting to know that person from the inside out. So I would tell them, instead of looking in the mirror, go behind the mirror, and there you will find all the skeletons or whatever behind there. And that way you can look at yourself and do a self-evaluation of yourself before you can even attempt to judge anyone else.
I'm glad you did that, just to give like a brief overview of what that book was about. Now, what was the second one was about as well? Because before the last teardrop falls, as a matter of fact, when you were on, I think that one had just been released. What was before the last teardrop falls? What was that all about?
The way that people... When you're living together on earth and you have so much hatred in the world and people need to get along together, they need to prepare for after, but they don't think about that. They don't prepare for death while they're living. They think that everything is like supposed to just come to them, fall from the sky. You can treat your fellow man any way you want or whatever with no consequences whatsoever. But like the Bible said, how can you love me, whom you never seen, and hate your brother that you see every day? So I'm letting them know that they have to get their house in order now, right now, today, before they can go any further.
So hence the title, Before the Last Teardrop Falls. Now, that came out a couple of years ago, but a lot of things have happened since then, particularly since, with the election, and it seemed like things have gotten even worse. So, I mean, I would think it's just as relevant, if not more relevant today than it was whenever you wrote it. Because you're right in terms of just about anything seemed like it goes. Folks act like they're going to be here forever. And in a sense, they are, in terms of, like you said, the spirit continues to live on regardless. But in terms of us being here earthly, you're right. We're on a limited time basis. So whatever we want to get done, we need to go ahead and get it done. And we need to get things set in order, as you said, get your house in order. So in terms of what you've been seeing then, like we were just talking about with the election and how crazy that all went down, and it seemed like, I mean, for me, okay, whoever won, but people are taking it to another level in terms of now feeling like they're empowered to do all these hate crimes.
I know, and I really disagree with, I mean, okay, sure, we may have wanted another party to win, but they're going about it the wrong way because of the fact hate only derives more hate.
Correct.
It's like putting salt in a wound. You're not really, you added more problems instead of looking for solutions. Okay, so he's the man in the White House, but there's a man that's even higher than he is.
Correct. That's yes.
High, he looks low.
That's the same way I see it, and that's what I said last week, and I've been saying actually since he won that everybody's running around talking about they're afraid and this and that. You know what? I said, I'm not, I can't say that I'm afraid. I mean, whatever will be. But like you just said, there's somebody higher than whoever sits in the presidency. Doesn't matter whether it was Clinton, doesn't matter if it's Obama, doesn't matter if it's Trump, don't matter who it is. Exactly. There is someone that has the power. And last week I read some scriptures in Kings, from 1 Kings. There's the story of Jeroboam. And, Jeroboam was the man. And he put his arm out there, and God held it there. He paralyzed it, froze it, made it like into stone. So the same God that did that then back in 1 Kings, if things get too out of hand, can do the same thing now in 2016.
Exactly.
So you're absolutely right in terms of getting things together. I mean, it's just, and I guess maybe I guess if you're like 10 or 15, I guess you don't see it that way. But the older you get, the more it makes a lot more sense to you. So now tell me the titles of the last two again, because there were some interesting titles.
Okay. My third book was Mechanically Inclined and Battery Operated.
So wait a minute. Now,
that was about having your own voice, you know, being able to stand even if you have to stand alone.
Okay. That was, okay, now Mechanically Inclined, Battery Operated, is that the same book or two different books?
No, that's the same book. It's Mechanically Inclined and Battery Operated.
Okay, now where did the concept or the idea of that come from? How do you come up? I mean, because that's an interesting title.
Yeah. It came from, the way people actually do not speak up. They rather follow the crowd, even if they know they're right. But in order to have a popularity contest or not making the waves, they'll go along with the crowd, even though they know the crowd is not right. They're wrong. So you have to take a stand. You heard the saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So you have to be able to stand firm and bold, even if you're the only one standing. Because truth is going to last anyway. It's going to stand. It don't need a helping hand to stand if it's the truth. And you're going to lose some friends along the way.
Right.
But as long as you know that you're right and you're standing firm on what you believe in, then everything else will take care of itself. But I find we have a lot of puppets and robots in the world. They just follow each other. And they're going nowhere. It's like a hamster, in the cage.
That's right.
It's rolling and rolling, but he's not going anywhere.
That's right. I'm looking here. I pulled up the book on Amazon, and I'm looking at the little description. It says, in everyday life, we all dance to various types of music, march to a different rhythm, and sing to the tune of different melodies. But I really would like to know, who is the supreme drum major that guides your every move and footsteps? Are you marching to the beat or just marking time? Let's march together in unity to the beat of God's heart and keep in line with the perpetual rhythm of his divine grace and mercy. When we are out of sync with God, we are also out of sync with life. So let's keep in step and blend our voices in perfect harmony. Let us walk together in love, peace, harmony, and unity with no strings attached and no batteries inserted. I'm looking at the cover here where you have the wind-up dolls.
Right, exactly.
So Mechanically Inclined and Battery Operated.
Yes.
So you said you're looking to show or to bring out in that book, have a voice, even if it means standing alone.
Exactly. I think that's very important in life, for people to have a voice. Just like with the election, Mark.
Right.
A lot of people were complaining about which candidate won or whatever. Some didn't even vote.
That's correct.
Am I right?
That's correct, because whenever you said, that's exactly what I was thinking about, that folks stayed home. Either they thought they were protesting or either they didn't like the candidate, not realizing that their staying home impacted that election result.
Exactly.
So the other thing with this is, being able to speak up. There are times whenever we're in situations where, like you just said, we'll go along, even though we know whatever we're going along with is not quite right or either not right, rather than stand up and say, no, I'm not doing this because it's not right. Folks just kind of fall in line.
Right. They go along just to get along.
Right. One of the things, I laugh whenever you were saying about the saying you just said about stand for something or fall for anything. That was my uncle's favorite line.
Right.
My mother's brother, that's what he always said. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. However you just said that, that's what he always says.
Right.
And then the second piece of that is, one of the things that was drummed into my mind from the time I was a tiny child was think for yourself. Even when my parents signed my yearbook, my high school yearbook, that's what it says in there. Remember what we always told you, think for yourself. That's what it seems like to me, Mechanically Inclined and Battery Operated is getting at.
It is.
So in terms of your writing, whenever you're putting together a book or something like this, When is like kind of like your best time to write? Are you one of those that write in the morning, or just whenever the feeling hit, or in the evening?
Wherever the feeling hit me. But I have to go to my quiet space.
Uh-huh.
And I have gotten up like 3 o'clock in the morning. If an idea comes to me, I keep pen and paper by the side of my bed. I'll get up and jot it down.
So, mechanically inclined and battery operated, this whole notion of speaking out, is that something that you observed, or was it a personal experience? Or
through experiences. All of my books are based on life's experience. Believe it or not, they're all nonfiction. I've seen all of this. I've seen it. I've seen it all.
Oh, I can believe it. Especially like this one. As a matter of fact, all 4 of them, just based on what they're all about. Because it's I tell authors all the time, I love play on words. I love that whole notion of playing with words, hanging on words, and the fact that you titled this Mechanically Inclined and Battery Operated is a very interesting choice of words given the subject matter, because you wouldn't think, based on the title, that's what it's all about. Did you do that on purpose?
I did it on purpose to stun my readers, because the first thing they would probably think, their mom would just go in a whirlwind.
Right.
They're trying to figure out, well, what is she talking about?
Absolutely.
I don't want to give my readers, I want them to be able to think for themselves.
Right.
So I try to put a little mystery and intrigue into it.
Now, do you self-publish, or are you with a publishing house?
No, I'm with Ex Libris.
Ah, okay. Yes, I'm familiar with Ex Libris. All right.
Right.
So you have the opportunity to kind of, for the most part, Ex Libris kind of lets you control whatever you want to do. Sometimes the big publishing houses, they will kind of tell you what book cover and so forth and so on. I don't think Ex Libris does that. You can kind of...
No, I design my own book. I just tell them what I want.
Right.
Right, yeah.
That's what I thought. So, okay, mechanically inclined and battery operated. We're trying to get folks to speak up, to go against the grain if you need to. I laugh as I'm thinking about this, because I'm thinking again as a kid, and I work with children, and I tell them kind of like this story all the time in terms of, again, my parents were like, because it was me and my sister, if you two see a fight going on, you better go the other way. If we hear tell of you standing around looking at that fight, then we're going to deal with you when you get home. So it was, they've always kind of been like, even like you just said, if you have to stand by yourself, then so be it, if you're standing for yourself for the right. Let me ask you, why do you think that's so, in your opinion, especially based on the fact that you've written a book about it, why do you think that's so difficult for people to do?
Well, to stand firm,
right? Even if you have to be alone, because I say the same message to kids every day in terms of, well, why were you doing it? Because she, because the rest of the class. Well, you know that's not what you were supposed to be doing. Why didn't you just move yourself and go to the other side of the room, or get it out of the situation, or whatever? Why do you think that's so hard to do? Because
I think they are so afraid of losing friends and being popular. So instead of them learning how to really love themselves first, instead of trying to get a whole crowd to love them, that's what's causing the problem. They want to be in the in crowd. Sometimes it's better to be outside of the box instead of inside of the box.
I know one of the things my pastor always challenges us is with, are you a people pleaser or a God pleaser?
Exactly. Yes.
And if you're a people pleaser, you're going to lose all the time. And I'll tell you why. Even if you don't know anything about God, but if you're a people pleaser, let me tell you why you're going to lose, because you will never, ever make everyone happy, no matter how much you try.
Exactly.
And that I've experienced for myself. No matter how much you do, what you do, there's just some folks, regardless of what you do, that are just either not going to like you or not going to be happy with what you do. And then you'll get, some who will and some you don't. But that's why if you're a people pleaser, more so than a God pleaser, you're going to lose that, because you will never, ever please. If you base what you do, or you base, like Mary just said, your self-love or self-esteem based on other folks liking you or loving you, based on what you do for them, you're going to lose that, because eventually you're going to run into somebody, no matter what you do, it just will not matter. They're not going to like you. And it may not have nothing to do with you.
Exactly. They have to realize that people change, but God never changes.
That's right. That's absolutely right. People change, but God does not change. That's why I said, that same God that was in the Bible in 1 Kings, I believe it's chapter 13 or chapter 3 or something with a 3 in it, but it's that same God that was there is the same God that's here now. Oddly enough, as I was driving in this morning, I heard on the news where Fidel Castro passed away. I said, wow, That's interesting. Right here at the end of Obama's term. And Obama, as you know, just restored relationship with Cuba.
Right.
And so I said, wow, it's really interesting that Fidel passes away right here at the time when Obama's getting ready to get out of the White House. But I know they've reported that before, but they say this time is real. I mean, he was 90-something, so hey, I understand.
Yeah, I know.
But again, like you said, in terms of, do as much good as you can, because Fidel is not known for doing good. So I get it is what it is. But again, this is what, I say every week at the end of the show. It does not matter what your title. It does not matter if you're a president. Doesn't matter if you're a prime minister. Doesn't matter if you're a dictator. It really doesn't, because at the end of the day, we're all going to wind up in terms of, again, in the earthly, moving on. Exactly. So I tell people all the time, the one place that does not discriminate is the cemetery. Because, you don't know who you're going to be laying next to.
You don't know.
And so it's best to, be nice and treat people, nice on this end. So
you must show humility.
Yes. That is absolutely right. And I'm intrigued looking at your book cover with the wind up, because sometimes, like you said, like that little hamster in the maze, sometimes going through life, you feel exactly like your cover.
No. That's true.
For those of you in the listening audience, my guest this morning is Mary Bowers, and we're talking about her third book. At the moment, we're going to move to the fourth book shortly, but for right now, we're talking about her third book, Mechanically Inclined and Battery Operated. And I know it's available on Amazon because I'm sitting right here looking at it on the Amazon site. But before we end the interview, I'll give Mary the opportunity to promote and let you know where all the books are and how you can get a hold of them. But we're talking about the third book right now, Mechanically Inclined and Battery Operated. I'm going to share some more information with you. Don't you dare move. Let someone know that Mary is on the line with me.
Music, the vinyl frontier. Tune into the adventures of Rewind to Now. Its weekly mission, to explore time-honored music, to seek out lesser-known bands and forgotten tunes, to boldly go where the music is the star of the show. How you doing, G-Man checking in? Set your radio, computer, and tricorder to the one program that enables you to experience the future of the past through the music. We interface Sundays at 9 a.m. Prepare to be transported to a world where the music is fascinating. Set your coordinates to Rewind to Now. It's the logical thing to do. No bones about it.
Want to expand your horizons? Want to broaden your mind? Well, listen to the only show of its kind. Listen to The Reading Circle.
We bring you what's going on in the world of reading, in the world of books. Sometimes the book may be from 20, 30 years ago, because the thing about books, they are timeless, particularly if there's a good message. And then there are times when we do books that are hot off the press that were just released.
Listen to The Reading Circle every Saturday morning from 6 a.m.
The Reading Circle with your host, Marc Medley.
Only on WP 88.7 FM.
Don't tune out.
Anyone?
Tune in to Brave New Radio.
Anytime, anywhere.
With the TuneIn Radio app.
You're listening to The Reading Circle with Marc Medley on Brave New Radio.
I trust you didn't go anywhere, but welcome back to the Reading Circle with your host, Marc Medley. We come to you live each week at this very hour from 6 o'clock a.m. to 7 o'clock a.m. And then, as I said, we move on into the good news and song with the M&M Hour and continue that with Martha and Friends. And then Barry comes in behind me, 9 o'clock with the Naked Brunch. My guest this morning is Mary Bowers. And right now we're talking about her third book. She's actually written 4 books. The first time she was on the show back in October 2014. She had 2, and now 2 years later, she is the author of 4. So, Mary, are you working on, because let's see, that would be, you had 2 books when we started in 14, and now you have 2 more books. So are you doing about a book a year, or is it falling that way, or is it kind of like whenever they're done, they're done?
No, actually, as I write one, I'm always, I also have a few more in the making. So, as a matter of fact, I have a 5th book coming up.
Okay.
Right.
So that's in the process now.
Right. Yes.
Gotcha. So this one was released back in March, somewhere around there?
Yes.
March of 2015, and then there was the 4th one that we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So, mechanically inclined and battery operated, and then Before the Last Teardrop, and now what is the 4th one?
The 4th one is called Brave Audacity with Humble Weakness.
Brave Audacity with Humble Weakness.
Yes.
Wow, that's like an oxymoron. That's like 2 ends of the extreme.
Yes, yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that one.
Okay, well, with this one, I learned early in life that courage is not really the absence of fear, because with this election and everything going on, there's a lot of fear, but it's the triumph and victory over it. That's what counts. And see, I seem to gain my greatest strength in the midst of distress like this, because it allows me to grow brave by reflection. So in all aspects of my life, I always try to live creatively, So that's when I reside. I go to my quiet space, like I spoke about before, where no one else has ever been. So then it gives me time to create in my mind exactly what I want to say to my listening audience and my reading audience. And it's there, in those solemn hours of my solitude and my quietude and contentment, that I'm able and willing to try things that others may not even understand. You see, I feel like this. He's endowed me with many diverse gifts and talents. And sometimes having that spiritual audacity for me, it just gives me a greater insight, because like he said throughout the Old Testament, he said that we are endowed to be of good courage. So in order to manifest no fear. So in order for us to do that, we have to fight battles with our warriors and our enemies and our foes. We have to do that. So therefore, this should also apply to our everyday life with our spiritual warfare. So that's where this title came from, Brave Audacity with Humble Weakness.
Yes, indeed. Now, while you were saying that, as a matter of fact, I'm looking for it to come up now. It does. It says, because you were talking about fear not, be afraid. And I was just looking here. A wonderful thing about Google is you can ask it anything and it'll give you something, whether it's true or not. But it says the King James Version includes 29 instances of the phrase, be not afraid. The New American Standard Bible includes the phrases, do not fear 57 times and do not be afraid 46 times. Some argue that fear not and similar phrases are present in the Bible 365 times. Now, that's the one that I've heard. I've heard that it's in there 365 times. Now, I don't know how true it is, but let's say that is the case. That relates to 365 days of the year.
Exactly. Yes.
That it says, if that is the case, which is a possibility, but either way, we get the point. We get the message. Do not be afraid.
Because just like with this election going on now, believe it or not, we're making ourselves miserable by giving this man so much power.
Correct. I agree.
And to me, the greatest enemy we face, it's not a thug in a dark alley or a crazed drug addict. It's us,
You're right. I could not agree with you. Because, see, I'm a big believer, and the two go hand in hand because it's part of the same law. But it's just a different name. It's called law of attraction. But that's in the Bible as well, in terms of what you think about is what you can bring to yourself. If you remember back in Job, Job says, the thing that I feared has come upon me. And that's pretty much saying you can attract to yourself the very thing that you're thinking about in terms of being afraid about. You can attract that to you like a magnet. And so I agree with you in terms of, I think in terms of like the thinking of a country, if you will, or thinking of a people, whatever. You're right. We're giving this one person too much power. Now, of course, he has power because of the title, but now we're giving him too much power with all this, be afraid, so forth and so on. I'm with you. My Bible says, fear not.
Absolutely.
Because you could. That's why, I mean, it works in you have positively, what is it? Positively, what's your email? I know it's positively something. Positively lovely. Okay. That's where I was trying to go. It works in the reverse also. You can think enough good things that you can attract positivity to you as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's why, for the most part, I always try. I mean, I'm not saying I'm like, happy all the time. But for the most part, I really do try to keep the thoughts focused on the good versus the bad that can happen.
Exactly, because what you think, you will become.
Yes, that's exactly right. The same way, however you're thinking is what will come about. That's why thoughts are so powerful. I was reading something last night. It said the subconscious mind is 30,000 times more powerful than the conscious mind.
And that's true.
And so that's what we're putting in our subconscious things. That's why you were just talking about that quiet time, that quiet place.
Yeah.
That's the subconscious kicking in. That's that small voice. That's God's voice kicking in. And that's way more powerful than the conscious. So whenever you're I have to say the name again because I have to go back now and pull that book up as well.
Okay, Brave Audacity.
Brave Audacity. Hold on a second. Brave Audacity.
Uh-huh.
And that was the second piece?
And Humble Weakness.
See, that's interesting because you got brave and humble and you got audacity and weakness. Or, like I said, all of those words are opposites.
Yes.
And I'm looking here at the cover. I see you have the lion and the lamb.
Exactly. Exactly. One is fierce and one is tame.
Right. But I see them together.
Yes. But they come together, yeah.
Yes. I see they are on the cover. They're sitting there, laying there together.
Right.
So what is the message you're trying to get people to understand? Because it seems like all four of your books, like you said, they're all nonfiction. And clearly you're writing to give folks a message? What is the message you're getting, or you're trying to give folks here?
Okay, it's like this. Okay, see, okay, I believe that each of us have moments in our lives where we can be defined. It can be defined as a transition, between the before and the after. For everything there's a cause and there's an effect.
Correct.
So when I'm writing, I'm in my space between my comfort zone and infinity. Let's say it that way. And and then sometimes the message I want, sometimes I feel like I want to hide, Mark, and not be seen and not be open and not be vulnerable. But I also realize that as a writer, I'm obligated. I want to put it out there for people to see and embrace and read my thoughts. So
right.
I came to the conclusion that there's two ways I can do this. I can do it soft and gentle as a lamb, okay? Or I can do it fast and hard. But either way, both will get my message across to people. Either way I do it. So, so I don't know. It's hard for me to explain because but I have to follow that path to the end. Sure, sometimes people come to me and give me negative responses and stuff, but that's not going to stop me from continue writing because that's my passion.
Well, like I said, I hang on every word that I read and write. Or either when I say that, I mean I almost kind of very quickly analyze it or at least do my personal interpretation. Right. So when I look at your title, it says Brave Audacity and Humble Weakness. Now, there's a lot going on with that word and I'll tell you why. Because you didn't say Brave Audacity or Humble Weakness.
No, I did not.
Right. Okay, so you're an author. You know what I'm talking about when we start playing around with words. You said Brave Audacity and Humble Weakness. That tells me that depending on the situation, you have to be both.
You do.
And you have to be able to choose which one are you going to use. Am I going to be audacious or am I going to be humble?
Right.
And let's say I'm using, for example, like I said, I put the call out there saying first come, first serve in terms of getting this spot this morning. Clearly, you were brave at that point because you were the first person to respond.
Right. But I was also humble enough to wait for a response because I had no idea that you would be calling me.
Right. So if you got it, you got it. And if you didn't, you were still fine.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So that's the way I'm seeing that. Is it brave audacity and humble weakness? You got to have a little bit of both, folks. And see, this goes back to connect with the book, the third one, about the mechanically inclined, that whole notion we were just talking about of being able to stand up for yourself. Being able to go left when everybody else is going right is when you're going to have to use that brave audacity.
You have to. See, all of my books, actually, you can see piece by piece a little bit of message in all of them.
And oddly enough, they're kind of connecting. I mean, they're not necessarily, right. You don't have to read one to continue with the other, but there is a continuation of message there. And now they each stand alone, but if you were to look at all four of the titles, you can kind of see the connection.
Exactly.
So when I was going to say, when someone finishes or put down your books, what do you want them to be able to do? In other words, I mean, okay, let me ask that another way. How do you, when you're writing this, what is your prayer and hope, or what is coming to you in terms of how you can impact another person's life?
My whole thing about writing, I only write inspirational books anyway. And my whole idea is to get them to try to encourage someone who may be down, who may be lost out there, and who anybody, the prisoners, the homeless, or the single mothers out there, anybody that wants to live in peace, in love, and harmony, no hatred, no bigotry, or anything like that. I just want to inspire them. I want to encourage them. And that's my whole point for writing the book. Sure, you have people out there that may not be a church person, but then again, some church people aren't church people. Right.
I do. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, again, I'll refer back to my past. There's a difference between Christians and church people.
Exactly. It's a difference between religion and spirituality.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely
you can
right.
be a religious fool or a religious fanatic.
You can. That's right. You're absolutely right. So again, you know, in the education world, the question I just asked you is what we call like your objective or your goals. So your objective when you're writing the book is you're looking to encourage folks. You're looking to encourage your readers and inspire and motivate your readers.
Exactly. That's what my goal and my aim is, to do that.
All right. So we're coming down to the last few minutes of the interview. And like I said, I always turn the mic over to the author. You can say anything, Mary, with the exception of price, but in terms of websites, or I know it's on Amazon or anywhere else the books are available. Matter of fact, what I would suggest you do is give us the titles of all 4 books again and how folks can get a hold of the books as well as they need to get a hold of you. So I'm going to turn my mic off and give you the opportunity to promote. And like I said, you can say anything with the exception of the price.
Okay.
It's yours.
Okay, my name is Mary Bowers. I'm an author, writer, poet. And my first book is Looking Behind the Mirror, Getting to Know Me from the Inside Out. My second book, Before the Last Teardrop Falls. My third book, Mechanically Inclined and Battery Operated. And my fourth book, Brave Audacity and Humble Weakness. All 4 of these books can be published, can be bought from. I'm on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Ex Libris. So all 4 of these books can be purchased on those 3: Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Ex Libris. Thank you.
All right. Well, I tell you what, Mary, I'm glad you, like I said earlier, took on the challenge, because that's kind of like I said, first come, first serve. I think I put on there FCFS. I don't know if folks knew what that stood for or not, but
I know. First come, first serve.
Exactly. So I don't know how many understood whenever I put that on there what I meant by that, but obviously you did, because like I said, I saw your response. I think it wasn't too long after I put it out there. I saw yours. I would love to come back on the show again. I was like, great. So that's whenever I contacted you and said, are you still willing to do it? And you graciously agreed, and we are here. So again, Mary has 4 books out now. Again, her name is Mary Bowers, Bowers, Mary. Again, Mechanically Inclined and was it battery operated?
Yes.
And the other one was the Audacious.
No, Brave
Audacity. That's it. I'm sorry. Brave Audacity and Humble Weakness.
Yes.
Wow. I tell you, I love the words and all of your titles. I love them because, again, like you said, if you're going through, your list of books, or if you're on Amazon, or if you put in Mary's name on Amazon, I think there's more than one of you. I think there's another Mary Bowers on there too.
Right. If they just write, they can just put the title.
Right. If you put the titles in there, they'll come up. And like I said, there's some powerful titles. And again, there's a message to go along with the powerful title. And you heard Mary say her aim, her goal, her objective is to inspire and to encourage, because there are messages in there. And certainly, for the little bit that we've talked about this morning in terms of standing up whenever you know something's not going the way it ought to go, you're going to have some courage to be able to say that's not right. And sometimes it may mean losing friends. But if they truly, Mary, if you really think about it.
If they're truly your friends.
Exactly. You know where I'm going.
Yes.
You know exactly where I'm going. If they're really your friend, matter of fact, if they're really your friend, they're going to stand with you if they know it's not right.
Right.
And if you have to go, you're separate way from the group or what have you, then, that's just what you have to do. And in terms of the fourth book that we were just talking about, the Audacity and the Humble, you have to, you got to be able to discern and be able to see what your situational awareness is. All right. Which battle do I fight? Which one don't I fight? Which time do I step up? Which time do I just kind of like, all right, you know what? That's not my battle. Now, if it turns out the battle is something that's just dead wrong, like, no, I'm not going there. And you know what? You could even be humble with doing that. Sometimes whenever you're making a stand, you don't have to make a big fanfare.
No, you don't. You're absolutely right.
Sometimes you can make your stand and just people know. They're like, okay, that's not what Mary's about.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not.
You heard stand up and be counted. I can sit down and be counted.
Right. That's absolutely right. Because especially once people know your personality and know what you are and are not about, people come to know especially when you stand, whenever you're consistent, because this is where people get messed up. People get messed up with folks who are wishy-washy.
Yes.
They can't tell which way they're going to go. But once people kind of establish your credibility and they establish your character, they kind of know what you will and won't take.
I mean, like I said, you're not going to have too many friends, but,
right.
But who cares?
That's absolutely right. And on that note, we've come down to the end of another reading circle. And again, Mary, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I wish you a blessed week and weekend. And we will be in touch. For those in the listening audience, again, the author is Mary Bowers. She has 4 books out there. Like she said, if you put the titles in, they'll pop up on Amazon or either Barnes & Noble or Ex Libris. All right, Mary. We'll be in touch again. I don't know, sound like you're an early bird anyway. If you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, all right, it sounds like you're an early bird. I know.
You know how writers are, right?
Exactly. So that's what I was going to say. If you need to go back to sleep, go ahead and do that. But I think most writers are up this time of day anyway.
I'm up with my cup of Java right now.
I know that's right. Well, I'll tell you what. Have a wonderful day.
You too, Mark.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye now.